So we arrived back at our property in Portugal last night, around about 6:30 in the evening, and as there was a storm coming in, we decided to sleep in the house, which was all right. We did get wet, a few mozzies, but nothing too serious. And so it's brightened up now. It was misty and rainy and horrible this morning. It was like we hadn't left the UK actually. But now it's brightening up, and this week's set to be a bit more promising. Yeah, it's a bit of a grueling journey the past few days getting here, particularly as the van, if we have a look, is absolutely packed. So now I'm going to take all that and put it in there. Fortunately for us, our good friend Gianni, who lives a couple of villages away, came down and cleared all the land for us. So we haven't come back to a complete infestation of ferns. They're there. So yeah, so thanks Gianni for doing that. Yeah, absolute lifesaver, because if we'd have come back to waist height of ferns and grass, it would have made today a lot more difficult. So today we're going to put the bell tent up, clear the van out, and play it by ear from there, I should think. Alright, good morning. You've seen the beautiful sunrise. That was around about 7 o'clock this morning. So it's Wednesday. Got the van unpacked and got ourselves organised and the bell tent pitched, and just starting to get a bit more organised, and yeah, so things are pretty straight. So now I'm going to concentrate on the first project, which is the yurt base. We're going to go drive down to Spain on Sunday and pick up a yurt, and hopefully I should have most of this done by that time. If not, I'll just pick it up and finish this off later on. So let's check it out. Okay, so what I've based the design on is a octagon, and then I'm going to divide that into whatever a 16-sided shape is, and then cut a curve around the edges of that. I had a look at all sorts of different designs for this base, but it didn't seem practical just to do sort of like parallel joists. So I'm going to make make it out of segments. So I'll see if I can flash the plans up on the screen now. So with this one, because I don't want to get nobbled for any sort of like planning consent, I'm not actually going to I'm not going to put any sort of like foundations or anything. So I bought these concrete blocks, which I'll level off, and then I'll just put it on some short legs so it's not too far off the ground, and should be fine. So here we go. So let's test if the speaker works. I've got a new microphone, look. Let's test if that works. Right. So really the theory is that I've got some 6x2s which are like 150 by 50, 45 or 45. Should be able to span 2.6 metres or 2.5 metres with the UK span regulations. However, I bought an extra pad and I've got extra posts just to support it in the middle, just so there is no bounce in the floor. So I'll put the intermediate ones in. About halfway. That's a lot of digging. But I'm just going to dig the turf out and just get them level, and then I'll figure out all the heights probably this evening when it gets a bit darker with a laser level, because it'll be a lot easier. Right, let's get some tools. Alright, got the tools, but more importantly, coffee. Perfect. I need to get used to this recording lark again. Battery ran out, so I've got spare batteries this time. Got most of those done. I've got 3 small ones and the double ones to do in the middle. Let's crack on. It's actually just had a cup of coffee, and within that time it's gone up 2 degrees. It's 22 degrees now, so I want to crack this out before it gets too hot. And yeah, because it's set to probably be about 30 degrees today, which is hot for me. Right. So, right, okay, so I need to clear out all these lumps of turf that I've just dug out, get rid of that, get some weed suppressant. So I've got a big sheet of it in the van, so I need to do it in 2 halves, but I want to try and put the stones on top, so I'll have to, that's just going to be tricky, but you know, we shall prevail. So once it's all built, turn this into a circle and see if we can find some nice stones to put around the edges. But that'll keep the weeds down. So yeah, so they'll probably need a bit of adjustment as I start building it. I'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I can only do it so accurately. I mean, it was the string was set out to within 10mm, so every bit that I get onto will just make it more and more accurate, because at the end of the day this first bit of framework needs to be a perfect octagon, or near perfect octagon. So yeah, isn't it nice to do something that doesn't involve digging holes and pouring concrete? I know that it's probably move over time, but you know, there's going to be enough times where I pour concrete to build a workshop or to do the house, so let's try and keep it to a minimum. So I didn't get much done this afternoon. I managed to mark out the driveway and then it just got too hot. It's about 35 degrees. So I had to chill out and went to see my mate Paolo, and he gave us loads of figs from his tree and some persimmons and some tomatoes and chard, and I had a couple of beers and put the world to right, and so it was a nice afternoon. So it's cooled down substantially now, and I'll probably crack on with the yurt base a little bit later on. But let's check out how the drive's going to look. Let's turn you around. Right, so as you can see, or not, it's quite steep, so we need to be able to take the bump out of the top of it here, and then I don't know if you can see on camera, but I've put out some string. So we're going to make all this area here, go round this olive tree here, so that'll like be a centerpiece, and we're going to move this one further down the land, and just make this circular. I'm going to move that tree, and we're going to move this one as well, because in this area here I need to build a woodworking and joinery workshop, but then just carry on the driveway, take out the hump and that lump there, just so we can maneuver our way out. But so this is going to be the drive. Right, good morning. I didn't film what I did last night because it was just getting dark. I needed to use the laser level to set this out, but yeah, the light was too bad and it was getting late, and I just needed to get a wriggle on because I was getting tired. So I've got the posts set in roughly the right position. Some of these pads are they need to move, so most of them are okay. This one needs to move out 80mm. Got that wrong. I think this one needs to move. Yeah, that one needs to move. Most of them are okay, but and this one here needs to move. So as you could see, I've got them set, and I set the posts to finished floor, well, to just under the floor level. I mean under the tongue and groove, you know, finished floor. But and I was hoping to sort of like do half lap joints, but I think I might struggle with that and getting it all in the right correct position geometrically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit them on top and then screw down through the top. And then also what I did come to realise as well is this needs a good bit of bracing as well. So I've got some extra timber for bracing, so that's fine. But what I did find was that from here, the highest point down to the lowest point, there's a difference of 220mm. So that makes the back quite high, so I've lowered the front so it's just literally a step up. I might bring that right down, well I will bring that right down, and just have the front as low as I can. The 2.6s that I got, that one happens to be 2.7, which is a bit of a result. This one here is it's just in to help me work it all out. But as you can see, if I cut a 22.5 degree angle here, this will make it 45, and then all going well, it should make a geometrically perfect-ish octagon. And then, if you remember seeing the plans, I'll divide the centres up with some thinner timber because I don't need 6x2s and I'm a cheapskate. But it'll be fine because you know, the span in between here, the 4x2 will take it. Okay, so what I need to do is actually trim these down to the right size. I also need to move these little bits out. I'm going to have to drag this this weed suppressant out a little bit further because I miscalculated that, but that's fine. I've got plenty on that side, you know, where it overlaps in the middle. And yeah, so all of these I took them from that measurement in the center there. I measured to the edge, so this has got to be exactly the size of the yurt, and the yurt's 18 meters. I don't really do imperial measurements, even though I've just mentioned that as a 6x2, 150 by 50. However, so I've converted it into metric because it makes a bit more sense for me. So that measurement there is 2770 off the back of the rebar. So I've added 5mm just for that, just to make sure that I've got the centre. And then as the process goes on and I'm cutting the timbers to exactly the same size, it should just pull it into an octagon, I hope. Anyway, right, let's crack on with moving these pads. Okay, those are cut to size. I'm just going to have a little play around to see how it all fits together now that all of those are level. It doesn't look level, does it? But it is. But we can test it all out. Bloody flies. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that it's not dimensionally square. Some of this timber might be difficult setting some of this out. But I can only try. Let's give it a go. Rightio. So I've started cutting some angles. I know it's sort of not all straight, but in theory, once I get all these nice and tight and up against each other, then it should work out. Looks like this is about 3mm too big, but I can always plane that off just to get it level later on. So what I've decided to do is lap this joint in the middle. So I've got one joist that's running through the middle, get that set, get it roughly in the center, and then get it in the center and then go perpendicular from that across here. So what I'm going to do is I need to trim the end of this one off square and then figure out exactly what the lap's going to be and cut those laps. I'm going to stick you back up in the tree because I haven't got anywhere else to put the camera. So you'll have to suffer. Oh. Put them sunny side up. Okay, so that sits there like that. Problem with them not being secured. But it could be to my advantage, because if they were secured and they're in the wrong position, then I'd really be snookered. So maybe it's just worth the extra faff getting this here in the right place. Okay. Right. Actually, I don't think there's going to be enough room for a lap joint. Why is that such a... Okay, I think that needs to go down. Make sure the level's level. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's see what sort of straight edge we got. That is bang on. It's about 8 o'clock next day. Quite misty actually, if you have a look. I was hoping to get a nice sunrise again this morning, but alas. Okay, so yeah, I've got a clear head now and well-rested brain. So I've taken measurements to see where where I'm getting the extra 30mm across the diameter of this octagon. Yeah, so it's this one here that's causing us problems. Now, the outside edges are fine, but if this angle's slightly out, if that angle's slightly out, and if that angle's slightly out, then it's going to throw up some errors. So I think what I'll start with doing is just taking these off, checking them, and see if we get anywhere with that. So let's do it. So I've got a scale drawing for the whole thing, and hang on, I can't see myself. So I've got a scale drawing for the whole thing, and I've added these little mitered bits in the middle to my drawing, because that was just an inspirational thought yesterday. And I worked out on the drawing what length this timber should be, and it's actually within 3mm, which is a good enough tolerance for something like this. So maybe I should just cut another one at this length, maybe even the correct length, including the 3mm, and screw it all together and see what it says. Because it might just be the fact that the timber is a little bit, I mean, it's really raw timber, so if it's bowed in any sort of way, if those two bits are there bowed, you could throw it out. I mean, 25mm is a lot, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to give it a go anyway. I've got nothing to lose, have I? It's great. The sun's starting to come out now. It's going to burn through all that mist. Back to the inferno. Amazing. Right, just do the last two at 2.6. Amazing. I'm well happy about that. Right, so somehow I've got to try and get that into there. I feel more coffee coming on. Right, make a coffee, sort that out. Okay, so all the measurements are correct. Everything's correct, other than the fact that I've got to get that in there and that in there. So, and it should just slide in, well, under force. So let's give it a go. It's a considerable chunk off of there. Okay, so I didn't take that 30mm off of one. I took 3.5mm off of all of them, or just the blade's thickness, and they fit together perfectly now. So yeah, that looks alright. That looks alright. I mean, if you're going to do something, you may as well do it properly, mightn't you? Anyway, so it's this one here that was causing the problem, as well as these being a little bit too long, but that one wasn't very straight. So I'm going to cut some intermediate noggins for more support, because you can't put the floor on there because it's too much of a span, and then so I'll do 2 rows of those, and then I'll divide this into 16. So let's crack on with that then. Feeling nail gun coming on. it's not square. Am I on? I'm on. So I thought I'd just stand here and give you a sense of scale. I mean, it's enormous, and it's as enormous as it needs to be. I got a bit bogged down with working things out yesterday, so I didn't film it. But I finished off these intermediate joists in the middle here. There's one across the back that was a little bit big, and I tried working it out and tried figuring out what the problem was, and I couldn't. So we'll have to see if it all works out geometrically, because I want to do this octagonal pattern in tongue and groove on the floor. I could do it straight by, but that's not in my nature to make things simple, is it? Yeah, so these joists here, I'll cut them out so it follows the curve. So this is part of the apex of the curve here, and then this one will be longer, and the floor will go over to that. I might noggin it out, I might not. So yeah, I need to brace all these posts, make all that safe. I've still got to build something in the middle, which I'll probably do first. Hold on, I'm not looking at you because I'm trying to get my footing. There needs something under the middle because it's not supported, but it doesn't move. Well, I hope it doesn't. No, it doesn't move. So that's all nice and strong. We've just got to make sure that once the yurt's on here, it doesn't get blown over. So all these legs need fixing to the frame. Yeah, so that's that. So we're going to drive to Spain tomorrow. We've got a 9-hour drive into Spain down towards Granada, no, past Granada, past Malaga. So it's going to take us a while. We're going to stay in a nice Airbnb overnight and pick up the yurt on Monday morning. So let's see what next week brings us. While we're away in the UK, the trees have started bearing fruit. We've got a load of fruit trees that are doing well, and also some olives, so let's check them out. So apparently with the olives going black is a good sign that they're getting ready. A good friend has suggested that he'll come and help us with his crew to harvest these, and then we can help them. This one got cut back really hard, so there isn't anything on there, but next year that should be all right. But this one not so much, and loads of them on this little tree. But this tree over here is amazing. Stacks of olives. We've got 50 trees, so hopefully we'll have a good harvest and then loads of oil. And the advantage with doing the harvest with somebody with a lot more experience than us, is that if we have to put our olives in with his, when we get down to the press, we know that he hasn't sprayed any nasties on his olives. Because I think there's a lot of insecticides that go into farming these, and obviously we want ours organic. So we'll film that when the time comes. Right, here's the lemon tree. There's some coming on. They're conveniently camouflaged, but there are quite a few up there. And there's more olives. And the oranges are coming on nicely. Ah, beautiful. So I'm not quite sure when these are going to be ripe. Clementine tree's got some clementines on it, but they're a bit small. Apparently it's a bad year for clementines. Oh, I've got a wasp's nest in there. See where they've dug it out? No, there might be bees actually. They don't seem to be bothering anybody, so they're probably bees. Let's go and check out this sweet chestnut tree. There's loads of them, absolutely hundreds. Look at that. So we'll get those roasting for Christmas. There's loads of them up at the top, it's amazing. And the shower has become more rural. It's all sprouted olive sprouts in here. This is great. Nice showering in there. Actually, something that I haven't conveyed in the video so far is how happy we are that we're here. You know, it's so quiet. You know, they've done some building work across the way during the week, which you might have heard. There's the odd car, but it's mainly just crickets and cockerels. And in the evening you can hear the owls. There's some frogs which make a right old racket. There's some frogs in the forest over there the other night, and they were really noisy. And it's just so peaceful and tranquil, and it's absolutely amazing. And yeah, we're very happy. We keep pinching ourselves actually, you know, trying to make sure that that we're not dreaming. So yeah, this is awesome. But we've worked hard for it, and now we're going to reap the benefits. Right, so that's just under a week. Tomorrow's Sunday. I'll be posting this tomorrow, so that will be our first week, because we only arrived late Saturday night, and yeah, so we've got a load done. Let's hope next week's going to be so productive. So if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.